War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host, C Dub, and tonight we will discuss the national perception surrounding Bryan Harsin, as well as more drama surrounding NIL. So more on that and then some on tonight's midweek report. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, and sorry about that. Had some technical issues, but everyone is here. It seems like y'all can hear us now. Welcome to the latest and greatest midweek. It is the greatest yet still. The latest and greatest midweek report brought to you by our show sponsor, auburnsports.com. Guys, please head on over there. JG Tate and the fellas do an amazing job of keeping you up to date on the latest recruiting news and all news regarding Auburn athletics. Also, guys, we need you to share this video on social media using hashtag Get Your Weight Up and help people to find our content and help us to grow our community. Speaking of community, you need to become a patron. All right, tell them why.
Maybe it's because I was being so demanding last time, and I told them it's because I said so, and they were just like, "Get this bum out of here." But yeah, man, we want you guys to become a patron because we've got a lot of great content that we're releasing for you. If you are a member, then you've already seen our Chris Todd content that we've got out there. If you are not, you will get a chance to see that starting tomorrow. But we've got some other great interviews lined up that you definitely want to become a member so you could get early access to. We've got patron-only content with Chris Todd breaking down A-Day quarterback play. So patrons have access to that right now. Make sure you go check out the Watch the Film segment with Chris Todd talking about that. Some very wonderful information going out with him on that one. Lee County Humane Society, as always, is the place that we are doing our charitable deeds. You can hit the About section in our YouTube channel to get a little bit of information on that, as well as go ahead and put a few dollars, 50 cents on every dollar that you give there goes directly to the Lee County Humane Society. Make sure you lock in with us on that. You can find that again in our About section, or you can go to our website at warrapport.com. Today, we are giving away that wonderful AU t-shirt. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments to get in on that one. We'll be drawing that later on today. GWT2 Energy Consulting Services is who sponsors this and every show. So make sure you guys are locked in with us on that. If you're not here, we will definitely keep it moving. If you didn't know, we've done a rebrand recently on our podcast. We are the Auburn Express now on all podcasts. So you guys need to make sure that you are checking out the Auburn Express for all of your podcast content. We're dropping content every single day, some of that podcast exclusive. So if you want to get in on the podcast exclusive stuff, make sure you are locked in there. Special shout out to our sponsor, rogueshop.com. If you want to go in there and use hashtag rapport, you can get a little discount on whatever goodies you decide that you want to get from them. But shout out to them for always being a wonderful sponsor of the War Rapport. Yeah.
Check out today's episode of the podcast. Memes went on an epic rant about Alabama baseball. It was entertaining and unexpected. So we have some pod-only content. Also, if you want to re-listen to these player interviews that we're doing, we're dropping that on podcasts as well. So lots of good podcast stuff out there.
Some harsh criticism from our good friend Bryson. Always has a great sense of humor. Says Mike G is a bum for not doing his job.
I control the stream.
I agree.
If it ain't pre-recorded, it ain't me.
I agree, Bryson. I agree.
Oh man, Bryson also says Jazzy says he's going to miss the next couple of shows. Then this coincidence? I think not. Yeah, we miss Jazzy too. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's not waste any more time. As I was saying, but you guys can hear, CBS Sports, annually they do this thing where they rank all coaches from Power 5 conferences, including Notre Dame. And so far, they have ranked coaches from 1 to 65. So there are some coaches who are waiting to be ranked in this annual list of rankings that they put out. Last year, Bryan Harsin came in at 27th, and then he was, if my memory serves me correct, I think I remember this list. He was somewhere around the midway point in the SEC, but now he has slid to 48th in this ranking, putting him, well, you guys see for yourself where he landed. Number one, of course, the top two coaches in the country are coming out of the SEC. That's Nick Saban at number one. Number two is Kirby Smart. Number 5 and third in the SEC is your boy, B. Will, Jimbo Fisher. Fourth in the SEC, seventh in overall is Brian Kelly. Mark Stoops comes in at 16th. Lane Kiffin, 18th. Sam Pittman is 22nd. Mike Leach is 26th. New head coach for the Florida Gators, Billy Napier, comes in at 32. Josh Heupel right behind him at 33. Shane Beamer comes in at 41. Even Eli Drinkowitz comes in at 46. And Bryan Harsin is next to last at 48. And as you can see, maybe you can see in the small writing, Clark Lay ranked outside of the top 65. He's yet to be ranked, but as it comes to SEC coaches, he will be last. B. Will, I'm going to start with you because I had a specific question for you. How about the 5th ranked head coach in all of college football? How about the used car salesman? Was it used car salesman or is it snake oil? Which one is it?
He's both.
Is both?
He's both.
How do you feel about that? How you feel about old Jimbo? Because I was going to save you, but I know your time is precious. So I need something. Give the people something provocative to get them going. How do you feel about old Jimbo?
Time is precious.
Can you not curse on our live broadcast? You could have did it before when nobody could hear.
We ain't been flagged in a whole week.
Oh my goodness. There's nothing to say. Jimbo fooled people winning that national championship, which, you know what? To be clear, I feel like I have to make this point every time, and I probably don't, but winning a national championship is not easy. It is an accomplishment. It should be celebrated. That is a notch under your belt if you're a head coach. It does not make you a good head coach. Your talent can win national championships for you. Ed Orgeron just did it just now, 5 minutes ago. Ed Orgeron won a national championship and got fired 5 minutes after that. And now this is the minute after those 5 minutes are up. It does not mean you are a good head coach or even a great one. It just means that you had that stroke of luck. I don't know if Gene Chizik is a good head coach or not. I think the talent did it. The best college quarterback ever. And I don't really think that's debatable, although I'm sure some people do. That can do it for you. When you get enough talent on the field and the right people in the right system, yeah, it can happen. That's what Jimbo had. And I don't know why people think it's any more than that with him. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to belabor this too much. We're going to get into this real heavy, and I'll get into all my reasons as we develop this new segment we're going to put together coming up in a month or so. But there's no reason to belabor this anymore. He is not the 5th best head coach in the country. That is absurd. That's absurd. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Not one bit.
Okay. All right. Car Dog says, snake oil. Don't be associating that clown with us car salesmen.
Well, it's used car salesman.
It's used.
And
Car Dog, are you a used car salesman or
it don't matter what kind of salesman he is?
I guess you can sell. I guess he sells both. He can sell both depending on what.
It's supposed to denote that he sells clunkers as good cars. That he's selling junkers. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's what type of car salesman he is. All that fast talking and not answering questions directly. Shut up.
Damn
it.
Mike G, your thoughts on this ranking?
Can we put a list up again?
We surely can for you, good sir.
So I'm not on the Bryan train about Jimbo because when you say he's not ranked where he should be, I mean, you just kind of tell you got to say who should be ranked in front of him. And I'm looking at a whole list of not very impressive coaches. Like, to me, I think it's funny that Bryan Harsin it dropped so low in 1 year, because if you go back and you look at any of these other coaches' first years, they had similar results in their first year in year one. So how he dropped from what they thought was 27 to 48 is beyond me. Like, the logic doesn't really make sense to me. If you thought, based on his 10 years or however long he's been coaching, almost nearly a decade worth of coaching experience, that coming into last season he was the 27th ranked coach, you're gonna drop him. I don't know how many spots is that, 21 spots, right, in a year, in his first year at any program. This doesn't make sense to me.
And I think the perception.
Can we do a correction really quickly though? Clark is actually ranked number 57 here on this list. I just found him.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, continue.
So I mean, I'm not buying that. These lists are crap, right? I mean, the only one they really got right was number one. Everything past Nick Saban is debatable. And you can flip-flop a lot of the top 10 just based on their whole body of work, what they're working with, head coach rankings. What does that mean? Is that based on record? I would argue, Sam Pittman did a better job with what he had than Lane Kiffin did.
I would too. And I would put Sam Pittman higher on that list than
How
Jimbo
is Sam
Fisher.
Pittman a better coach than Bryan Harsin, though?
He won 3 games in his first season at Arkansas. 3. Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
How's Eli Drinkwitz?
So
that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
he's had more than one season.
I can understand Shane Beamer maybe, but he hasn't won more than 6 games since he's been at South. Like, I don't get it, man.
Auburn has one of the hardest schedules in college football every single year. Going into this season, depending on who you ask, if you're asking ESPN, he has the hardest. So he goes 6-7 with the hardest schedule in college football, and somehow drops 21 spots. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's such a joke, dude. These lists are a joke. The people who put them together, this is the kind of crap you see in the offseason when all the people without imagination need something to write but can't come up with something substantive, right? Like, nothing with substance. This list lacks substance. So I have no problem with Nick Saban at number 1.
David Shaw is ranked ahead of Bryan Harsin.
Like, come on, man. Like, what?
Wow, they've had some really bad seasons recently.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Brian Kelly, come on, really? I mean, has anybody?
Chris Kleiman at Kansas State is ranked ahead of Bryan Harsin.
I just think has any coach flopped on the big stage more than Brian Kelly? Which coach on this list has flopped on the big stage? You got to get to the big stage.
Wait. Where is Lincoln Riley ranked?
He is 4th.
Where's Ryan Day ranked?
He's ranked 6th.
Okay, we can turn this off. We know that list is joke. I don't know. Like, see, again, I don't have. But he's producing Heisman winners.
Who?
Lincoln Riley. He's producing Heismans. So if anything, you can say that he at least knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. I don't think anybody can argue that. That's not debatable. Come on, man.
All right, so hold on. Time out. I would like to debate.
So hold on, B.
That's not debatable.
Before you debate, okay, you don't like Jimbo, but who are you putting ahead of Jimbo?
Okay,
mind you, on that list you had who number 1 and number 2 is. Number 3 is Dabo. Number 4. Number 4 was Lincoln Riley. So if not Lincoln Riley, who are you putting ahead of Jimbo, or who are you replacing Jimbo with?
Okay. Here's the question we need to be asking ourselves. Who produces some measure of consistency with the program that they are heading up? Given the resources they have, they overshoot with the number of wins or with the end of the year rankings. So we know previously Gus was here for 8 years. We averaged just inside the top 10 or right around 10 or something like that. But our end of the year rankings, we averaged in the middle teens or something, or the late teens or something, whatever. So we didn't produce according to where we were recruiting and bringing in talent. Saban's like 1-1. So you got to give him that. I always felt that Kirby was a little overrated. We talked about this the other night because he's really the 3 programs who are bringing in similar resources. That is Bama, Georgia, Ohio State. And Georgia was, it took Kirby, 6 years to get it? Bama pulled down 2 championships in the same amount of time that Kirby pulled down one. Wait, 17 Bama won it. 20 Bama won it. Was that it? Right?
I don't care. Yeah, yes.
Okay. 17 was Bama because it was the Bama Georgia.
Right. And then 20 was the asterisk season.
It was a COVID season, but Bama won it.
Okay. So I don't, you can't take that from Saban. I would put Dabo higher. And the reason I would put Dabo higher is because Clemson did not have the tradition to draw on like Alabama did. They definitely still do not have the resources. And even through the run that they've had, they have not been comparable in resources, in talent that they bring in to Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. They have beaten these teams consistently. Well, before last year, they had beaten that group of teams consistently while not being as heavy-handed in what they have to work with. So to me, if I can beat you on the field 3 times out of 5, or if I'm going to count those 3 schools, they beat Ohio State in the playoff handily. I think that was the time Ohio State got blanked 30-0. They beat Georgia on a neutral site game in that 5-year run. They beat Bama twice. As we know, they lost twice to them, but they beat them twice. And those are all people who have more to work with than you do. If you can beat somebody who has better tools than you, you are better than them. Going 500 with a team that out-recruits you, to me, that makes you better than them. I know what the record says, 2-2. To me, that makes you better than them. So I would put Dabo above Jimbo Fisher because what Jimbo Fisher
he's already above. He's already above.
Okay, that's good. I agree with Dabo in the top 5, Nick Saban in the top 5. Kirby, I put him top 10. I have to put Kirby top 10 because
so you got Saban 1, Dabo 2?
I can't say 2. You know what? I see somebody put this in the chat and I'm gonna put it up on the screen. This is why before Gus even, we thought he was going to get
Bill
fired.
Clark's not even on the top 65.
And this Power is what 5. I'm talking about.
Power 5.
Okay.
Power 5.
Say, bro. Okay. Like, what
Power
are
5.
we doing?
Everybody here.
So wait a minute. How is Billy Napier even on this list? He ain't coached a
just got
game Power 5.
That's a good point.
He can be on the list. So Billy Napier can be on the list. It's got to be solely off of what he did at a non-Power 5 school. But him just getting the job at Florida makes him in the high 20s or low 30s as a coach. I don't know. Do the math. But everybody here knows I was stumping for Bill Clark 2 years before we fired Gus.
That's fact.
2018 season, I was stumping for Bill Clark for no other reason than they kill your program dead. You're behind on recruits. They don't want to give you any money. They don't want to give you the resources necessary to be competitive. You get your program back. You recruit your tail off and you scout and you figure out who can work best in your system. Guys come in and then you are winning your conference year in. You skip a year, maybe you don't win it. The next year you're back winning it again. That is consistency. They're double-digit wins. They've got players going to the league, getting drafted, going to the league. I think, wait, did UAB have more players drafted in the last draft?
You're describing Lincoln Riley, by the way.
So Lincoln Riley's program was dead for a year. He had UAB's resources and program additions.
Top 10 coach. There's no argument he's not. There's no argument that he's not a top 10 coach.
I will.
Any guy who produced 2 Heismans, they haven't lost more than 2 games since he's been head coach.
I will make that argument.
Okay.
And then you can decide what you want to do with it. Anyway, Bill Clark is a perfect example to me of doing more with less consistently. UAB doesn't get anything anybody else got. And I want you all to imagine, like we've been lamenting how bad recruiting has been for a year. You change over coaches, system, kids don't want to be a part of the system. A lot of stuff is going on that makes it look really bad from the outside looking in. Imagine if you played no football for a year. How devastating would that be? Hey, Auburn, nothing's wrong. Y'all just aren't going to play. So go ahead and put the big furniture bubble wrap over Jordan hair. All right. No recruits come in. If the kids are in your program now, they can leave if they want to leave. They can stay if they want to stay. You have to tell them they have a reason to stay. You have to give them a reason to stay. And then in about 9 months, we're going to lift the veil off and you get to start it all back up over again. If kids left your program, tough. Go find some guys who want to play for you. From there, win your division in a year. Are you kidding me? That's a head coaching job. I can't think of a better example of a great head coach doing the best you can with the resources you have than Bill Clark at UAB. That, to me, that's a great coach. Now, I don't know where you put that on this list. He's not even on this list, but he's a great college head football coach.
So he can't flop then. So he can't flop then.
This is all Power 5.
He can't flop, according
all
to you.
Power 5. Power 5.
I just wonder how much further down this list Bryan Harsin would be nationally if this included group of 5 coaches as well. Mm-hmm. He's 48 right now, and it's only Power 5, which is ridiculous.
That's true. That's 48 out of Power 5 have 14 to 16 teams each.
Not each, but like,
yeah,
14. Well, 12 to 14 each, right?
Yeah.
The Pac is 12. The Big 12 is 10, right? I don't remember how many they've got.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think it's 10. I think it's 10.
Something like 60.
It's got to be at least 65 because that's what they're ranking to right now. So,
that's it. That's all of them.
So he's 48 out of 65.
Wow,
that's disrespectful, bro.
It is disrespectful.
But it's just not objective. But none of these lists are objective.
None of it.
Most of the reasons for him falling down that low is actually for things kind of outside of his control. When you talk about all of the him being on the hot seat, the attempted coup, like what could Harsin do about that? Right.
Mike Norvell at Florida State is ranked 47th.
Yeah.
Wow. They have been terrible.
I don't like the resources argument when you're talking about judging these coaches. At the end of the day, it comes down to X's and O's. Either you can coach or you can't. Right.
That's it.
And there were plenty of coaches that went into programs that had lots of resources and flopped. Ask every Bama coach before Saban. How well did a lot of those coaches do? Right. You either can coach football and your record is not the only indication that you're a good coach. So if they go in and they are, the other signifiers that you have a good program, are guys getting drafted, right? Are guys developing? There are plenty of other signals that the same criteria that you're using to judge Bill Clark by. You can look at some of the production of a lot of these guys ranked in the top 5 and attribute that same stuff to them. I don't think they should be penalized. Right. I mean, you're giving Dabo a pass. What resources does Clemson have that these other schools doesn't have that these other schools have? They're top 20 school in terms of revenue. Top 20. It's not about money. It's how those schools choose to spend that money. And if you should have proven that you can win with the guys or at least show progress or show some positive signs, they'll let you spend more of it. That's the bottom line. A lot of these schools don't have the resources. Argument is so overplayed. It is. You can either coach or you can't. Kids want to go someplace where a coach has proven he knows what to do with talent. And they will give you the resources to go get more of those kids. Once you've proven, that's where Bryan Harsin is at right now. If he can show development this year,
I think resources matter, though.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm telling you,
you just said they didn't.
I'm not saying they didn't. I said it's overplayed. It's an overplayed argument to use that as the basis for judging a coach completely.
It's not the sole basis.
And you're penalizing these other coaches because they walked into a situation where they had resources. Most of them earned their stripes in places where they were not given resources.
Like Bryan Harsin.
Right. That's my point. So, I don't know. I just think if you're looking at the whole body of work with some of these coaches in the top 10 and you're judging them objectively, I'm not looking at Lincoln Riley and saying, oh, he coached at Oklahoma, so he's overrated. I'm looking at he took over that program in 2017. I'm looking at 5 straight years where they didn't lose more than 2 games. And now their conference isn't the best, but you still have to go out there and you still have to play the game. The other signifiers to me that it's real is that his players are getting drafted. He's producing Heismans. Those guys are doing pretty good at the NFL level as well, too. So it's not like they're just getting they're flopping. Kyler Murray is doing great.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. He had a good rookie year. This last year was kind of.
He is a bona fide starting quarterback at the NFL level. It's not questionable whether he's a starting quarterback. Come on, don't do that, guys.
No, I'm not the only one questioning that. Like, it's not as if this is Isaac saying this. I'm saying that there are NFL experts who question whether or not Kyler Murray should be a franchise quarterback for any team in the NFL right now, based upon how he performed his second year. I didn't just pull that out of thin air.
Okay, I mean, but the team that he plays for thinks that he is, and by the numbers, he's doing better than most quarterbacks 2 years into the league.
We can. I mean, again, let's to your point, Mike G. You're talking about. I mean, Kyler Murray is the only guy who got to the league coming from Oklahoma, right? There are other guys.
A ton of the guys, yeah, that are there doing great.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, when Kyler Murray I said 8:30. Come on, y'all doing it.
Okay.
Kyler Murray came out of high school as one of the most highly touted quarterbacks ever because of what he did in the state of Texas. Right? He was a 5-star, highly rated, not a can't miss prospect. Did Lincoln Riley recruit him?
No.
Did he land him? He didn't land him, right? So, because Kevin Sumlin is actually one of the worst coaches over there, that whole situation got blown up. He was on the market, and then Lincoln Riley found the guy in the transfer portal. Well, not the portal then. I don't know if it was actually portal then, but he got him off of the secondary market, right? Baker Mayfield, did he go straight to Oklahoma? He went somewhere else, didn't he?
No, yeah, he started at I forgot
Texas
where,
Tech.
but he transferred.
He walked on at Texas Tech, right?
Yeah.
So, he had some productivity. He talked about how, what's his name? The guy who's the head coach of Arizona now, that was the coach of Texas Tech, Kingsbury, how he slept on him, replaced him. I think it was David Webb he replaced him with at some point. And he had some feeling about that. Went to Oklahoma, was very productive. Did he win a Heisman? Yes. How's Baker Mayfield doing right now? His team just paid the most money ever for a quarterback and couldn't even get rid of Baker Mayfield because the team he was trading with did not want him.
Yeah, a lot of factors go into why quarterbacks do or don't do well at the next level.
Now
my point. You made a point for Lincoln Riley.
You made it about Lincoln Riley.
He took can't miss prospects that other guys missed with, but yet you're giving him no credit for that because you can miss with a can't miss prospect. We see it happen all the time. So you're not penalizing him for doing with some guy what another coach couldn't do.
I'm penalizing him for not being able to recruit a guy straight out of high school and do it, which means he's a very poor identifier of talent, at least for his system. Now, he can do it the second time, kind of like Gus Malzahn. Yeah,
we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams.
What? That's a weak argument.
We'll see what happens. The first one he got in a long time was Spencer Rattler. How did he do?
Yeah.
He's still, and some schools still took him. He still hit the transfer portal and is an undoubted starter at another program.
Undoubted starter, maybe
1 year.
What is South Carolina?
No, it was 2 years. It was 2 years.
That was 2 years.
Oh, going into his second year. Okay,
so half of a college career.
So he's done.
He's done.
So he's
I
done.
didn't say he was
no
benched.
chance.
Is he a Heisman? Is he a Heisman?
Not
Lincoln
yet.
Riley pulled the guy right out of high school.
Yet. We don't know.
What did he do with him? Benched him, right? Because he wasn't good enough there, right?
The point is not that you never miss, though. It doesn't matter where the kid comes from. It doesn't matter whether he comes from another school in the portal. You still have to judge talent. Cam Newton, right? A lot of people wanted to move him positions. We still had to go out there. Somebody had to convince Gene Chizik that Cam Newton was the guy. Somebody had to say, hey, Cam, we can't miss on this prospect. Talent evaluation is a skill, right? And I don't understand. It doesn't matter where the kid comes from, man. It just doesn't. The point is that if you go ask those guys that have played for Lincoln Riley, he can coach. He can coach.
Has he won?
I've heard no bad things about Lincoln Riley in terms of his ability to coach. Man, he is a top 10. Whether you want to argue whether he's at 5 or 6 or 4, to me that doesn't matter. That's all nuance and bull. He's a top 10 coach in college football.
No, he's not.
He is, because all the arguments you're making against him are arguments that people will make against Bryan Harsin once he starts doing well.
I guess my point is
No, that's
what?
not
What
true.
are you talking about?
That's not true.
That he only lost 2 games a year? Somebody's going to complain about Bryan Harsin doing that?
No, that's not my point. That's the point I was making. What you're talking about.
You said that it was going to be about whether or like you're saying people are going to make the argument that Bryan Harsin had the resources necessary to be able to do that, so he shouldn't be getting credit for it.
I'm talking about when they start, if he starts recruiting well.
Okay.
If he starts recruiting well and he gets some can't miss prospects, he's not going to be winning just because he got can't miss prospects. He still has to know what to do with those prospects.
Okay.
He still has to know what to do with those prospects when he gets here.
Right.
Yeah.
3 years from now, if he's a winning coach, somebody like Bryan is going to look back and say, "Oh, but look at his recruiting class. He still had to get there, and he still."
they're going to do. They're going to do.
He still had to. Yeah, he still had to.
They're going to do. I mean, they do that with Saban now.
Do with the guys that he had.
You're not.
You
saying
things I didn't even argue.
Let me clarify.
Work with what you have.
Let me clarify a couple of things. I don't agree with Bryan that he's not a top 10 coach, but I disagree with you about what your assessment of his point is, which is you're saying that he and Bryan Harsin would be in the same place. That's not true. Oklahoma was already a good program.
Thank you.
And
they
already had talent
had
when he got there. That is not the situation.
But the
reason same as building a program that we're going to bottom.
We're going to put a bow on this, but I will say that's your opinion. Here's why I disagree with you, B, is because he could have blown it. Even with what Bob Stoops gave him, he could have blown it.
Listen, again, I actually disagree with both of y'all. So
it's not a given. It's not a given that a guy will succeed just because there's already talent there. It's just not.
Because again,
you still have to be able to coach.
You look at what Larry Coker.
That's it.
Larry Coker. Was it Larry Coker at Miami?
He won the games. Yeah. He's done it for 5 years straight.
Butch was it Butch Jones, Butch Davis, Butch Davis?
He ain't my coach. It don't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
I won. Mike G lost.
No.
Well, I think both of you had bad points. So.
Yeah. I mean, Bryan's point is that every coach in college football sucks and is bad.
No,
that's Bryan's point. Bryan's point for the last year. Who's a good coach? Who's
I just said Bill
Nick
Clark is
Nick Saban's not good at this.
Well, he just said Bill Clark is a great coach. What do you mean? He can't.
We don't know that he's a good coach. We don't know that he's a good coach because we've never seen him do it at the Power 5 level. What? We've never seen him.
You just said to be a good coach, you have to actually be able to take what you have and do something good with it. He has actually done that. That's your point. What are you talking about?
Well, I haven't seen him do it at this level. I've seen these other guys do it at this level. I haven't seen him in the. I'm TBD on him. I'm not saying he's a good coach or he's a bad coach. I'm telling you that if he walks by your metric, there's no way with the resources that Florida has that Bill Clark should bust. None.
Florida has.
So if we're sitting here,
he's saying Billy Napier.
Billy Napier. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Where did Clark go?
He's still at UAB.
He's still
still at UAB. Okay, yeah. So a guy like Bill Clark goes to any Power 5 program. He should be an instant success, right? There's no way he should bust because there are no mitigating circumstances.
That is not. Anyway, let's go to break because this I disagree with.
Hey, listen,
so
listen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like every coach can't suck.
I'm just here. I just
every
wish I had popcorn.
Can't suck except for the ones that Bryan has deemed that we haven't even seen do it at this level. Say something good about anybody ranked in this top 10. Bryan has made an argument against almost every coach made in this top 10 about why they're a terrible coach.
If I see the whole 20, I'll make more arguments about why they all trash. I do this.
Listen, be will.
What am I road shop
every
gummies?
day?
I need gummies to deal with you today.
By the way, Jim Harbaugh is ranked number 9 on this list.
You want to say something nice about Jim Harbaugh, Mike? Hey, maybe you want to take up for Ryan Day. Ryan Day's cool, huh?
I got my gummies in. I ain't studying you no more.
Kyle Whittingham is number 8. Mike Gundy is number 10.
Whittingham is at Utah.
Thanks, Rogue Shop. Appreciate you. Plug for our sponsor.
Dave Aranda actually is probably too low on this list.
That's a good one. That's another one.
Dave Aranda should be. I think Dave Aranda should be higher than what he is. Listen, guys. We came back firing. All right, we came back on fire after that brief interruption at the beginning. We want to pause, guys. Please, we gave you some entertainment. Get the thumbs up. All right, hit the like button. Show us some. Don't be disrespectful tonight. we're going to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Listen. You all need to become members of the War Rapport so you can so we can do arguments like this more often, man. I have fun when everybody be arguing. I don't know about y'all. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
didn't bring my popcorn, bro.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, so if you are a member, then you know you've got access early to a lot of these interviews that we're doing. We have the interview right now with our guy. Gosh, I forgot his name just that fast. Who did we just interview? Chris Todd, thank you. Chris Todd interview is live now. If you are a patron, you get access to his quarterback breakdown. We went through and actually did like a film review with him of the quarterback play from A-Day. So you definitely want to become a patron to check that out. $5.99 is what's going to get you there. We've got some great interviews still coming during the month of May. I keep trying to tell y'all, one day you're going to listen. The Lee County Humane Society is who we are partnered with to do our good service out there in the community. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in the About section of the YouTube channel or on our website, thewarrapport.com. 50 cents on every dollar that you donate to that campaign goes directly to those good folks there. We're giving away the AU t-shirt today. GWT2 Energy Consulting Services is sponsoring that giveaway. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We'll be doing that drawing here in just a few minutes. You have to still be present in order to be able to win that. If you didn't know already, we have rebranded our podcast to the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. Make sure you lock in with us for that podcast exclusive content. We are definitely chopping up that entire segment right there so you can relive that in audio format for years to come, and then laugh at whoever you felt like made the worst arguments. Doesn't matter to me because I think both of them were wrong. But yeah, so we can definitely lock in with that, man. And you guys make sure you stay tuned to what we've got coming up with the War Rapport very soon.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and pick up. Let's talk about a new topic here. Let's move away from CBS Sports and their panel of experts that got the guys on the bottom row here all juiced up. Let's talk about NIL. And it's almost like a week ago, the NCAA kind of reestablished some rules. And just to kind of summarize high level, the NCAA basically laid down the law in terms of what you can and cannot do. And a couple of states after that said, oh, yeah, bet. Pretty much. Because Missouri, just this past Thursday, they introduced an amendment to a law they basically instituted a year ago that actually will allow coaches and school officials to become participants in the NIL process. Now, it's kind of similar to what Tennessee is doing. Now, under this law specifically, school officials and coaches are free to interact with NIL collectives in an effort to help the student athlete earn compensation. Furthermore, this legislation actually will protect coaches who actually engage in this, protecting them from the NCAA, who reaffirmed their rules a week ago. See who wants to jump in on this first. Ike hasn't said a lot. I'm gonna let you go first, Ike. Is the NCAA fighting a losing battle against states that are passing their own legislation regarding NIL?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, because they allowed the states to set the playing field to begin with. You have to choose. There's a wartime strategy, and I'm not saying that there's a war going on between legislators and the NCAA, but hey, it is definitely something that is going to be a contentious battle. You have to choose which battlefield you want to fight on. The NCAA let the legislation choose which play where they wanted to. They picked the battlefield first, and now the NCAA is having to come in and fight this battle after we've already engaged in this whole situation. So, yeah, they are definitely playing catch up. And as you're allowing legislation to set the parameters, that legislation, especially because it is in the hands of states, is not going to be uniform unless there is some sort of national legislation that sets the bounds around it. And the NCAA has absolutely no power to do that. They can lobby for it, but they have no power to do it. And because they've chosen to not lead in this area, they will always be the trailing. They're never going to be the lead dog. They're always going to be the trailing dog, trying to figure out where the sled is going. And that's just how it is. And they have no choice but to follow suit and figure out how they can stitch parameters around what already exists on this cloth of the emperor. It's at this point, it's the emperor's new clothes. It's not really cloth. It's just we pretending like it's something out here, and they're trying to throw something up. But yeah, it's terrible at this point, and they are definitely losing. Yeah.
Mike, talk about this, because you were pretty passionate about following the NCAA and how the NCAA can go after people who egregiously violate the rules. But it seems like these schools that may do that will have some protections.
This is akin to what happened in California that got this whole thing started, right? One state does something, and to make it equitable for everybody else, you've got to amend the rules. So California pushed the NCAA's hand on compensating athletes. They passed a law. You can't have it legal in one state and not legal in other states. Now they're trying to do this. I disagree with it. I do. Yeah. I think that this does violate the spirit 100% of what this was supposed to be. Right now, you're turning your university into, I don't know what the good term for it is, but
I mean, they're semi-pro athletes at this point.
Yeah, right. You're complaining about things being all about money, and then you're making a move like this that is really going to make it all about money. And I think that it's going to result in a poor product for college football. I don't think this is a good thing. If this governor had any sense, he would not sign this bill. As from what I understand, it's made it through both chambers of their house. Right, like
you're talking about for Missouri, right?
Missouri, right? Yeah, I think I think it's made it through, and it's on the governor's desk. I mean, it got pretty far. So this is not something that we're talking about in theory. They drafted it.
I think the governor has to sign it. They're waiting on the governor.
Yeah, so it went through all the processes, and the last step is the governor signing it into law. It's complete. I think this is going to be one of those things that potentially destroys college football. And now you're talking about lawsuits that will definitely happen. I think from the NCAA's end, it's just, this might be the end of the NCAA. This could be the end of them as a governing body, because they're taking away the ability to be able to hold anybody to any rules or standards. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. You're taking away any teeth they have to be able to be a governing body in college football. I do not like it. I think that, or in college sports, I'm all about athletes getting paid. So I don't want anybody to hear that I'm against athletes getting paid. Right. But, what you're talking about is the disparity now between the haves and the have-nots is only going to grow. It's only going to grow. So what Lane Kiffin was complaining about is really going to become a reality now if every state did this. Because if you, as a university as Texas A&M, for example, they got oil money. They have old money in their alumni base, and not every school has that. So it's if you're telling Jimbo Fisher that he can actually go talk to those people now, he's going to get every kid. And, we know Bama will have no problem with it. I think maybe Auburn would be able to keep up in this race. There's enough money in our alumni base to keep up in that race. It's just a few schools. The rich are going to get richer. A few mid schools will catch up. And if you're one of these schools, if you're like Cincinnati, who just made the playoff, I don't know if you survived this. I don't know if there's a chance that you're going to be able to compete because about 15 to 16 schools are going to get all the athletes, all the best athletes. So what Bryan talks about when he talks about Saban and Kirby being able to be average on-field managers, but still win games because the talent is so overwhelming, that's going to be a reality for a lot of other schools now. Average coaches, but overwhelmingly more talent than the mid schools who don't have the same money that some schools have. This is not a good thing. I think that the NCAA, they have only themselves to blame because they waited so long and they left it in the state's hands. And so many times we see this in life where, in one state, this is legal. In the next state, it's not. Right. And it's fair to some and not fair to others. And in this particular situation, because it crosses, college football is something that crosses state borders. So it doesn't matter that it's just legal in this one state. It's going to affect everybody else. I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I really don't. My only hope would be is that every other state has enough sense to say this is not a good idea. And if the Missouri schools benefit from it, so be it. They can't take all the talent. They just can't.
Yeah, and who wants to go to Missouri?
Right. I mean, because I'm not knocking Missouri, but it didn't seem like a real pleasant...
I'm not talking about the state. I'm talking about the school as an athlete. Like, who wants to go to Missouri?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't like this. I think this is silly, and what this is turning into is going to be really bad for college football.
Well, before we start dooming and glooming, we need to talk about the state of California. Before we do that, though, we're at the hour mark, even though technically we haven't been on before you can hear us that long. Do we want to go ahead and do the giveaway, guys?
Might as well. No reason to belabor that. If folks who want to stick around will definitely stick around. We are giving away a shirt today. So the AU shirt is the one that we will be putting up here for you all to be able to get your hands on. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you want to be able to do that. As always, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Hashtag get your weight up to be able to get in on this. So let's see who is going to win tonight. Who's it going to be? Kevin Dumas. That is a new name. Haven't seen that name yet. Dumas Kevin. Before.
Kevin, if you're here, let us know, man. Please say that you're here in the comments. Post a comment to let us know you're here so that we can acknowledge you, sir. Yeah. Please do that. And while we wait on Kevin, Mike G has already talked about. I don't think we have the ad for it, guys.
What's that?
For Rogue Shop. I don't see it.
Oh, no. We don't have the Rogue Shop ad on this one, I don't think. But we can talk about our folks here at Rogue Shop. The rogueshop.com. You guys can get in there and use code Rapport and make sure you get, feeling lovely like Mike G went ahead and popped him a little something to calm down after our rigorous debate. You can calm your nerves as well. Code Rapport is what you want to do, and make sure that you are at rogueshop.com. All kinds of things, man, to help you mellow out or calm down or whatever you want to do, man. Got a lot of health benefits. But make sure you, our guy Richard knows that the War Rapport sends you using code Rapport there.
Not sure if Kevin is here, but it stopped on Cohen. I saw that. He's like, "Oh, come on." So almost started to say, should we just reward, if the person isn't here, should we reward it to the last name we saw on that?
That's the one right before.
Yeah, the one who got teased. Okay, let's talk about Cali. Okay, let's talk about Cali. So there's a bill, and it hasn't gotten as far as Missouri's, but it's Senate Bill 1401, which is named the College Athlete Race and Gender Equity Act. And this would require California schools to share actually 50% of their annual revenues in football and men's and women's basketball with athletes, which is initiating a whole new era of pay for play. And so the way they have framed this is it would be related to athletics, in which athletes, and I don't know if you read this, Ike, but the years that they are a student athlete, it's almost like a fund that the revenues would go into that they would earn annually for being a student athlete, basically. So it's almost kind of like it's almost like a salary when you look at it that way, pretty much. And the money that most of these athletic departments use, I mean, we know they use these to fund their non-revenue producing sports. So the question becomes, if this were to go into place and other states follow, what happens to smaller sports across the country?
Other states
is
will
this
not follow this.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if it goes into a pot and it's divided equally, that doesn't make a ton of sense. The reason why name, image, and likeness makes sense is because players who have higher earning potential can take advantage of their higher earning potential.
Correct.
Like, we don't want to make this into like this socialist pot where it's like, well, I know you are earning more money, but everybody gets to eat off of your name. That's not fair. Right? Like you need to allow the players who can earn more to be able to earn more. If they're doing some sort of combination of that, where everybody's getting some sort of minimum and then you can still take advantage of your name, image, and likeness, that makes a little more sense to me, so that there aren't players out there who just don't have earning potential, who never can see a dime. But yeah, I just don't know, man. I don't know that this makes a ton of sense in the grand scheme of things. And then once you get over into the space where everybody's getting some sort of stipend that exists, you're essentially an employee. And then you're going to have players, you're going to have like a players union at that point in time, and they're going to have like labor disputes. But like it is definitely going to go wrong. It's not, this is completely not in the direction that we need to be going with this. The purpose of this was so that athletes could not be exploited and they could take advantage in their collegiate years of the things that other people for decades have been taking advantage of, which is your name, number, likeness gets me money, but you're penalized if you go get a free sandwich. Right, like it's
or
silly, right?
Or sell a jersey, or
right,
just anything
like,
that
you can sell my jersey, but I can't.
Yeah, right.
I make this jersey worth money, but you can sell it and make millions, but I can't do that. You can go and have me come for free, sign a bunch of autographs, and you can resell my autograph, but I can't benefit from that at all. That's crazy, right? Like, that's where it was supposed to be. But again, because we've allowed, or the NCAA, not we, because I had no say in this, the NCAA had allowed other people to get ahead of this. That's where we are. We're in that space because they did not set the bounding box around what was going to be happening here. I don't know that we wouldn't ultimately get to this place anyway, but I do know that we wouldn't get here this fast had there been parameters set.
It would have been people trying to go around the NCAA because they couldn't have their way, as opposed to in the NCAA's negligence, and then people basically setting a standard. Now the NCAA is trying to step in, and it may be too late in some cases.
Yeah, NIL was about stopping the exploitation of athletes and then turning around and telling those athletes that they cannot go and do the same thing on their own name that you just did to make money.
Right.
That was it. That was supposed to be the whole point of this. Now it's become, I'm not for this, guys. Like, I think that what Isaac is saying is correct. This is not about an open market deciding the worth of something. This is about the schools who have money. And if I were the school, I'm not voting for this. I think that all the money people they should be lobbying against this actively. I mean, the politicians, I don't see how anybody thinks this is a good idea. And I don't know I don't know if that bill has gotten as far as the one in Missouri, but I would hope that this one would fail pretty quickly, because all it's going to create is it's going to create a lot of disparity between, I'm stepping in some poo here, but I'm going to say it. When you think about things being inequitable, you're talking about like paying what something is worth, and you think about a lot of the social media arguments that have made between why women basketball players don't make more versus like male basketball players. And I thought when I looked at it, there, in some of the situations where I was for equality, because I thought it was uneven. When you look at like U.S. women's soccer versus the national team, and the women are just as, if not more popular than the men's. Their draw is great, and they're better more consistently. The product is great. There's no reason that they should be making significantly less than the men. Just to me, just none. And they fixed that just recently. There was an article that came out that said that they struck a landmark deal to pay the women a lot more than what they were making, right? What you have in college is you have your main sports that fund all the Olympic sports, because there is just not a huge demand for some of those Olympic sports. We love it. But prior to SUNY getting here, how much money was gymnastics bringing in?
Right.
They're being supported by these other sports. Now you're talking about what is going to be equal. Somebody is going to get left out in the cold. It's going to create a bunch of arguments and lawsuits. And it's just, man, guys, just the whole point was just let these kids go out and make deals with restaurants and anything outside the university,
right,
to make money. That's where we were supposed to land with this. Now you're talking about the university actually paying the athletes.
Right.
I've always been against that.
We literally just had an entire conversation about how we felt like the inducement situation was ridiculous, and the NCAA was looking for reasons to drop the hammer on someone. And then the states were like, oh, wait a minute. You mean you're going to punish our schools for doing illegal stuff? Nah, let's make a law against it.
Let's just make a law against it. It's not
You're
right.
right.
It's not right, man.
Right.
This could wreck.
The reason why I'm hopeful this won't get passed, Mike, is simply because you have schools, the administration does not want this problem. And I can see a lot of schools pushing back on this, as opposed to Missouri, where that actually gives you a bit of a competitive advantage. I can see that one passing in Missouri before this one, because this will be a nightmare for administration.
I couldn't see Alabama passing this. I could not see. I mean, our governor sits on the board for both Auburn and Alabama. And, and at both schools, they're probably going to that person and saying, there's no way in the hell you're signing this. Right. Yeah. You can't sign this. It would be a disaster for everybody else. And I don't know. I think let the kids go out and make money and stop penalizing them and taking their careers away for taking $5 or getting a free tattoo or whatever. I've always been against that, for that. Ending that kind of what really is hypocrisy by the people who are making all the money.
It's crazy.
But paying student athletes half of all the revenue, let's just call this what it is, right? Like you don't need a G League anymore. And
if the G League, which so USFL, or whatever semi-pro equivalents exist out there, the G League for basketball, whoever is a part of these organizations should be fighting this tooth and nail, because that will signal the end of their semi-pro league. Like, why would a kid do that? Like, why? Like, I guess the only benefit for them doing that sort of thing would be I don't have to go to school, right? Like, if I don't want to keep up with the grades and stuff, I could just go to this league, right? Because I can't meet. But like, you but the problem is you're diluting the pool of talent, so now you still don't know if this kid's any good. And so, like, what's the way that kid has a path to get to the professional leagues. So if they can't make the grades, they're not going to play against high caliber talent, and they're just going to be left to hope somebody takes a flyer on. Like it becomes ridiculous at that point in time, man, where like leagues like that need to be fighting tooth and nail to say, nah, this is not happening.
Yeah, and then the effect on the student athlete, right? You're talking about giving kids a bunch of money that is definitely going to make a lot of them jerks.
They're already
they were jerks.
But I'm just saying,
Right,
like, in the current NIL system, they're already bartering behind the scenes and saying, this is what I'm worth. This is what it's going to take to get me to your school. You basically just open the floodgates to say, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to allow.
Yeah, I don't think...
you look at what some of these schools are pulling in, and you look at what they're like what they're making annually. Like when you talk about creating a bigger gap between the haves and have-nots. Like I'm thinking of staying home, but I can go over to USC or an Alabama or Texas and get half of what they're bringing in.
Yeah, if the top 30 schools are paying their athletes, right, then, I mean, you might as well just think about a college salary cap. There are all kinds of things that you have to put it in place, to keep it competitive, because it's going to make this non-competitive. And I'm telling you what's going to happen is that being a coach of a kid that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, it's going to be a nightmare for some of these coaches. They already talk about it at the pro level a lot.
Yeah.
The average NBA player makes more than their coach. A lot of them make more than their coach. Maybe average is a little extreme, but like a lot of them make more than their coach makes. And you can't make these adults do anything. All you can do is threaten their money.
Yeah, and but you know what? The more I think about how adamantly Nick Saban has been protesting against the direction NIL goes, it's because of that, right?
It's because of this.
Yeah,
we're going to end up here.
He's like, I left the NFL to not have to deal with diva attitudes. I'm not coming to college. He came to college where he felt like he had leverage to get rid of divas. It's like, I'm going to get the best guys because of the program I'm at, but I don't have to deal with divas. I'll just replace you. You can't do that in the NFL. There's contracts involved. There's a bunch of other people who are calling the shots on what gets to happen. He didn't have autonomy like he wanted to. You're removing the autonomy of the college coach to be able to put their programs together when you start making it about money with these kids.
Right. And now I'll tell you what else will happen is to get control back, you're going to see academic standards and things of that nature being enforced very strictly so that the coaches can get some of this under control. And then these employment contracts, because that's what they're going to be, are going to be based on, they're going to be stipulations about you have to they're already stipulations to keep your scholarship. But if we're paying you, we're going to put other stipulations in place to make sure that we can control
scholarship stuff. Then, too.
Yeah,
like
why are we paying for your education?
Right, your salary.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, it really just boils down to this is bad, and it opens up a can of worms that these people who are thinking about passing these laws have no plan to deal with. I promise you, most of these people have not thought this far down the road about this.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the first labor dispute and university to get sued by some player.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a nightmare. All about kids getting money. I'm all about them being able to go out and profit on their name. If you're talking about the universities paying the athletes, this will have a net negative effect on pro sports as well too.
Yeah,
it will. You're gonna see more kids bust out at the college level and not make it pro because they were focused on money. Yeah. And you remove the motivation. It's already a problem at the pro level. How many times have we seen a guy at the pro level sign a big contract and then immediately flop the next year? Right. It happens all the time. He got his money and now he sucks. So I don't know. I always felt like I'm a little old school in that I think that the motivation to make it out of your situation is what drives a lot of these kids. And so I think once you get to college, you shouldn't still have to struggle. But this is something else. This is about college kids making more than people who are going to school to get degrees.
And it like
before
think about
they get out of college.
Think about like the Addison situation in Pittsburgh right now, right? Like Biletnikoff winning wide receiver is just going to transfer from your school. Like, you have no say in this, right? Like, he just decides, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm out. Like that. I mean, are we going to get to the place we're going to have like not transfer portal anymore? Like, we're going to trade players, right? Like, we have to get some sort of compensation back because we've been paying this guy on a contract basis. So like, we need to be compensated if he leaves our school because of whatever. Like, it's going to be insane, dude. It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you really talk. I mean, again, if you have pretty much told the NCAA, nah, we got this, then how can the NCAA do anything about tampering? Because now that becomes an issue. Because as a coach, you can say, hey, our players are eating pretty good. I know you playing well over at Pitt, or you playing well over whatever, but see what our players are making.
Yeah,
so they can actually, like, you say there's a problem with tampering now.
Yeah.
It would be all out wide open with coaches.
But that was my point earlier about them they have no enforcement teeth if this passed everywhere, and it should be the end of the NCAA. And a lot of people hate the NCAA for a lot of reasons, but what'll happen if you don't have one body governing everything is that everybody everywhere is just going to make it up. And the product that is college sports is going to be extremely watered down. And I'm not saying it's going to die, but it's
going to be what we know it'll be.
Yeah, it's, what's funny is that I've been watching the playoffs this year, the NBA playoffs, a lot. Me and our girl Brandy Mack have been putting some props down on things. And the more I watch the games, the more I realize, like, inconsistency is bad in anything, if we can agree. Just having inconsistent rules from one thing to another is bad. And I'm watching, and the officiating makes the NBA playoffs really hard to watch sometimes. Because we have a rule, but everybody enforces it differently. What's a foul? What's not a foul? Mm-hmm. And I get frustrated watching it because I'm just from play to play. With the technology that we have, there should be no play where a ball gets hit out of bounds and we don't know who touched it last. Yeah. Very little, if any. And I'm watched the game where clearly one team hit it out and they called it wrong. But because of the stupid rules, there wasn't an automatic review triggered. And what we're going with college football is that you're going to have all these inconsistencies all over the place. Everybody handling it differently. And it's going to be fair to some, not fair to others, and extremely unfair to a lot of people. So they've got to get this under control, man. This is I'm like, at first I wasn't, like, I'm starting to get concerned that this is going to get out of control and destroy college sports as we know it. This was never supposed to be pay for play. This, what you're talking about here, Caesar, is exactly that. It is pay for play. Come here and get paid. Yeah. Yikes, man. That's
amateur
scary.
Athletics is done.
It's done. It's not amateur anymore. It's a mini pro league that will end up being because the people who control the money are definitely going to push back. And when they do, you're going to see it could get worse than what it was. Those people have money and influence, and when they lobby, that's what their money goes to. You pay money to lobbyists, to people who have influences, to influence what laws get passed.
Yeah.
Right. And what you're going to see is that money is going to start speaking up for itself. The people with the money are going to start speaking up, and they're going to start lobbying, legislatures to, undo whatever is going to be done. And some of these states are not going to care what other states pass. I'm telling you, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think Alabama is going to care that Missouri or California passed a law that says that their athletes can get paid. As a matter of fact, our first version of our NIL bill, they had to throw it out because it was stricter than what the NCAA had in place. So they tried to get it right, and they were too strict. So this is already hard. Just don't make it impossible. If you start splitting athletic department revenue with athletes, you're going to make it impossible to govern and control. I'm telling you. You're not going to be able to tell these kids to do anything.
Right.
It's already hard, man, for some of these coaches trying to get kids into, I mean, and I'll tell you what, that world that we're thinking, that potential hypothetical world we're talking about under Gus is a complete disaster. I'll tell you that right now. It's a complete disaster. He loses control of that team completely. I'll die on that hill. Under a disciplinarian like Harsin, it's not that Gus didn't discipline kids, but under somebody who I feel like is more straight edged when it comes to that stuff, he's not against. He's never been against. There was a narrative that he was against NIL. He was never against NIL. It's these other things that coaches have to worry about. That he is probably thinking, how am I going to run a team with a bunch of millionaires? A bunch of kids, even giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm telling you, is a problem.
I was going to say, you ain't got to say million, just thousandaires, and they'll lose their mind.
Oh, my God. Before they've developed enough maturity, that the NFL invests extreme resources into their rookie symposium to give financial information to all these 20-something-year-olds who have suddenly become millionaires.
Yeah,
because they understand to keep their products good, they have to be able to exert some kind of influence off the field. You're about to get a bunch of money. That's why when you go through the NFL draft process, if you're going to be a first-round pick, they dig into every area of your life, because before they give you millions of dollars, they want to be able to know what you're going to do with it. If I give you $1 million now, what's the first thing you're going to go do? Are you going to go to the strip club and start making it rain?
And college programs don't have the resources to even begin to do that.
Oh, no. Right. So you're going to give this kid more money than he's ever seen in his life. And they're at the very least, there would have to be parameters around it. But I'm telling you, like, if you had given me, Caesar, in college, like 20 grand my first semester, I'd have flunked out of Auburn by semester 3. Because I can, if you know me, I came from a pretty conservative household, and I was just like, I didn't drink my first 2 years in college. All my friends were like, "How the hell is Mike going to all these parties sober?" I was just happy to be out. I was just like, "Yo, and my sister was so funny. She'd be like, "Mike, you can go to Disneyland tomorrow, and nobody will say anything to you. Like, your destiny is your own." And even that was a lot to manage for me, out from under my parents' shell. And I had to learn how to navigate that. But one of the restrictions on what I could do was how much money I had. I didn't have unlimited resources to go nuts. So at some point, the money ran out, and I was like, I need to go home and maybe try a book or studying, or
yeah.
I can't drink all my cash away.
The devious things me and a certain roommate you and I shared, Mike. We had $20,000.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. and you guys are great. Some of the greatest people I've ever known. Responsible and do what we had to do. But I just can't imagine. I don't think even for myself, I don't even think that would have been a good idea. So I'm just wondering, if you're going to do this, you have to provide the resources to support and make sure that these kids do what they need to do. Because, I mean, getting a bunch of money doesn't suddenly change who you are, where you came from, or what you know. It just doesn't. And that's supposed to be part of the college journey. And I'm worried that they're going to ruin that process with this.
Good talk, gentlemen. Listen, let's go ahead and get to the draw. I don't think we saw our guy, right, Ike?
I did not see his name pop up, so we are going to draw again. Kevin, I apologize. If you did jump in here, then you weren't loud enough. We're going to do it again. See who's going to win this AU t-shirts. I saw Jazzy's name pop in there. Jay Sears 2. Jay Sears, are you still here? We've been on for a while now, man. I don't know if if some of these people have dropped off. We're still 165 strong. We appreciate everybody who's been rocking with us tonight. We're going to get into some of your comments here in just a moment. But yeah, man, Jay Sears, if you're here, holla at us in the comment section so we can know and get you your shirt. But yeah,
he's here. Okay,
Jay Sears in the building. All right, so Jay Sears, if you haven't been initiated into what's going on, you need to hit us up at business@thewarrapport.com. We need your address and your t-shirt size, and we will get that out in the mail to you and make sure you are able to claim your prize. We appreciate you locking in with us. As always, sponsored by a guy, Walt Taylor with GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Thank y'all so much.
All right,
Let's get
guys.
to these comments.
Lightning round. You know what time it is. Fan question finale. We got a bit of comments already. I usually solicit more. You can add, if you got a really good question, drop one in. We'll try to get to as many as we can, but due to time constraints, guys, we're going to try to fly through these. So let's get to it. Austin Letlow says B. Will doesn't think any coach in the country is worth a flip if they don't coach at AU.
It's ridiculous.
That's completely untrue because he didn't like Gus. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He just hates coaches in general.
He's like, all of you guys are
terrible.
Again, that's why I was like, I can't wait to see B. Will's bums list, because I'm like, how many coaches are going to be on this list?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Let's get started here. Coming up first, I got everybody. Everybody sucks. Nobody can coach. Maybe Bill Clark.
Bill Clark and
Right.
Dave Aranda. We know he likes those.
Yeah, for sure.
Philip Coleman says Mike G looked like he took a handful of gummies. If he starts looking off into space or starts walking down the alley behind him, we know why.
I'm good. I understand how to ration them now. Now, I will tell you this. There was a time where I got some samples from our guy Richard, and I mistakenly thought I was eating the CBD gummies, like the regular, just plain CBDs, and they weren't. And this was an hour before a show. 30 minutes later, my world turned upside down. And I was texting the guys, guys, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't know what's going on.
And he was looking just like that.
It was nuts. So I learned how to start reading labels after that because I went on quite a 16-hour ride. Read those labels, people. They're important. They're there for a reason. They're there for you.
Thomas Jones asks, what's y'all's opinion on the Pac-12 getting away from divisions?
I read this. They are trying to right a wrong that's happening in the Pac-12, where some extremely bad team from one division makes it to the Pac-12 championship and then pulls out a win, and it's been hurting their chances of getting a team into the playoff. This is a problem. This is a problem in the Pac. And so now they're saying it's just the two highest winning percentages are the ones that are going to play for the Pac-12 championship.
I like it.
Flat out. That's it. That's all it is.
I like it.
I think I like it. I do. There was one. What year was it? The COVID year that Oregon got in.
Yeah, now that's like a. Well, no, Oregon got in because I think Washington won, but I think they had like a COVID outbreak.
Yeah,
so they couldn't play in it, and I think Oregon got in.
Asterisk by that. Yeah, asterisk. I didn't like it. I don't like when that happens. So I'll be interested to see if the SEC contemplates a model. There's been a lot of talk about pods. Us going to this pod system. I'll be interested to see if they contemplate a model where we just put the two winningest schools in that. And let everybody duke it out, but get rid of divisions.
Yeah. All right. Jazzy Joe says I had to come off of vacation to calm things down, which brings me to my awesome location challenge. Where am I for 100?
I think it was in Washington.
He was in Washington. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah.
Yep.
Mike G, John, and Haley got it. Appreciate that, Jazzy. Appreciate you hanging out with us on your vacay, sir.
Saw that Twitter.
It says about to head to, where's that?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo
Wild Wings to watch the game. War fam. All right, man. Thank you, bro. James Barnett says, hey, guys, what do you think about our newest commitment We saw that. So
Morris Joseph from
Morris
Memphis.
Joseph from Memphis, the transfer. I think he's 6'2", 275 pounds.
Mhm.
So he's not one
From
nothing.
Texas. Yeah. So got a big pickup there. What do you guys think about another defensive tackle?
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I think it's interesting because I think where I thought we were going to go was edge, and it just makes me feel like they're going to be doing some very different things than we assume with our defensive front. Have we released? No, we haven't. I can't even tell y'all what I know about this. Just wait. Just wait. We got some information. We already talked with somebody who is on the defensive line, and he told us a little information. We'll talk to y'all about it some more. But yeah, I think it's a good pickup for our depth along the interior defensive line, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they're moving guys around up front to affect the pass rush specifically. So very interested in seeing that.
It does make me wonder if they're anticipating some attrition at that position as well too.
I mean, it's too late for them to enter the portal, so I don't know what would happen. It's too late to enter the portal and still play this year. So.
Right, yeah. So doesn't mean it's not people deciding to leave.
Yeah,
maybe they after they went through evaluations. Some guys may have gotten some news that they didn't like, and they may be contemplating. I don't know, but we seem pretty defensive heavy on this influx.
Yeah,
and still plenty of spots left. So hopefully we're going to see more of this happening here soon.
And I think the issue too with edge, from what I gather, is I know that guy out of UCLA has come to visit Auburn, but I think he wants to get a good bit of playing time. And behind Hall and Eku Leota, good luck with that. So I think that's one of the reasons we've had kind of a challenge trying to land another edge guy. Because we got some really good guys already on the roster for that. So if we do grab someone, it would have to be someone with a lot of eligibility left. So that's kind of the issue with that position. So yeah, I'm curious to see what information unfolds. You guys are kind of sitting on already. Stuart Donald says the folks making this law don't understand that tuition doesn't pay for upgrading libraries or computer labs. Athletics revenue pays for all of that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're basically going to be cutting budgets in half for a lot of non-sports programs around a lot of these universities, I just don't. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, I think the money is not as infinite as some people think it is. Yeah. It's just not, right? So yeah, I agree. I think it's going to kill some Olympic sports, and that's going to hurt in other areas that the general public is not aware of currently. Right. So we may dig into this in another segment now that all this stuff is happening. But I would like to talk to university officials about like what would happen if you guys had to split all the revenue with the athletes 50-50. What would that mean? It would give us a lot of clarity into where money goes and, how it's spent and used and allocated for the future. So that might be an interesting series that we pursue over the next couple months.
Yeah, indeed. Riley M says, with all this restructuring, why aren't we doing something about Notre Dame? This is where Mike G reaffirms his love for Notre Dame.
I just want them to go away. It helps that Brian Kelly is no longer their coach. They're like 3% more likable because Brian Kelly is no longer their coach. But I'm wondering how this is for them not being in a conference, how this all will affect them. I really do.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. So they're in the state of Indiana. Definitely would be interested to see how some of this falls out for any independent that's out there, not affiliated.
BYU is another independent too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, guys, I don't think. Did you guys see any other?
Nah, we're good.
I think we're good on this, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we apologize for some of the technical difficulties earlier on, but you guys were right here with us all the way. We appreciate you for that. Ike, tell the people what they need to be doing.
They need to get on board the membership train with the War Rapport. So many wonderful things during the month of May. Man, you guys are going to be proud of what we are doing with your contributions that you're doing to the channel. I promise you, we are going to do some stuff, and you're going to be like, wow, they're not kidding. They are really taking this money and doing some very dope things content wise. So just be on the lookout for those things. But members get to experience a lot of this stuff first, man. So make sure that you are on board with the memberships. Again, right now, if you are a member, you can go and check out that film review with our guy Chris Todd, as well as the interview we did with them. 2 separate videos that exist out there. All non-members are going to get the interview, but the quarterback breakdown is going to be patron only. So make sure you come on board with that.
Yeah, if you don't have a membership next week, you're going to be really sad.
Yeah,
you're going to be really sad. So
yeah, we in the next 2 weeks, we've got some very dope things happening. Again, I've been telling you guys the month of May was going to be dope, and I promise you we're delivering on that. Lee County Humane Society is where you can give some charitable donations to what we've got going on. 50 cents of every dollar goes towards them. The About section of our YouTube channel is where you can check that out. Also, the warreport.com. If you didn't get a chance to win tonight, congrats to our guy Jay Sears, and appreciate also GWT2 Energy Consulting Services for always sponsoring that giveaway. But even if you didn't, hit the War Rapport shop and you can go grab yourself some merch from there. Again, we are on podcasts everywhere as the Auburn Express now. Make sure you are checking out those podcasts and all of that podcast exclusive content. If tonight got your blood pressure up as much as it did Mike G's, maybe you need some time to go and relax after this, hit up rogueshop.com. Code rapport is how you can get a little something off of that, and make sure that you let them know that we talked you into doing something wonderful for your life, and that is visiting the Rogue Shop at rogueshop.com. Use code rapport.
And guys, before you get out of here, please be sure to share this video, Facebook, Twitter. Help us out, guys. Also, and get our engagement up. Smash that like video on your way out, especially if you're watching on replay. Costs you nothing. Like it. Helps us out a ton. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at The War Rapport. We are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys, but we definitely have more content on the way, so stay tuned. But until then, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.